So, I finally caught up on Demon Slayer, and I'm unfortunately hate watching it now. I'm not one of those people who hate on something just because other people like it. Although the marketing of the franchise has gotten silly, like, there's so many things printed in Demon Slayer patterning that it doesn't make sense anymore, and I find that a little annoying, but that's not reflective of my opinion on the show. I want to like Demon Slayer, but it's so mid, and I expect better from something that is given so much space in the collective online sphere, so much attention and investment and praise that I don't think it quite deserves. I really liked Demon Slayer when it first started airing. I was drawn in first and foremost by the animation. I'm a big simp for ufotable animation. Opening on the tragedy of Tanjiro's family, and the plot, although not much more than a classic takedown of the ultimate bad guy, was endearing in that Tanjiro more than anything, wants to cure his sister Nezuko. However, there are several things I'd narrow it down to as what's made my viewing experience less than enjoyable. One being the demon's death flashbacks are a waste of time. Some of the major demons our boy Tanjiro takes down get flashbacks to their lives and choices to become demons. Or, not we get to see them before that point. This is a pretty typical storytelling device, but it's done the poorest way possible in Demon Slayer. One of the only purposes that these moments can serve is to garner sympathy for the demon in their dying moments, and they don't even do that. Most of the demons were pieces of crap in their life. Not that that doesn't stop Tanjiro from sympathizing with them anyway for no reason. But even then, you don't get this information until they literally have their heads cut off and are disintegrating. Not only are they not sympathetic revelations, the information they convey don't recontextualize the past, don't really add to our understanding of the world, or shape our expectations of things to come. Like, if this device were implemented in a useful way, we'd feel bad for the character and see the actions they did in a new light, spurring value in a rewatch. But these flashbacks are literally just a waste of time. There's nothing going for them as demons besides being the villain of the week. No redeeming qualities lost from them when they were humans. Why are you showing me this? 2. The power scaling is whack. The pacing of Demon Slayer is fairly condensed compared to other older shonen anime, which I like. Tanjiro kind of has training episodes, but doesn't have training arcs where he spends the first few episodes trying and failing at something to then beat the bad guy of the week through overcoming it. He's just always doing something new and spectacular and utterly disregarding his own limits to take down more stronger opponents. And that kind of leads to my third dislike, which is Deus Ex Machina. Tanjiro and Nezuko and everyone really have a bad habit of squeaking out a win based on some unexplored or entirely unknown ability until the moment it matters. Deus Ex Machina are generally known to be unfulfilling because they lack build-up. There are no foreseen circumstances adding up to everything coming together. It's not deserved, you could say. And although I don't think Tanjiro needs more time spent on training arcs, the sudden revelations of their hereditary ability to use OP breathing techniques is just main character BS. If I had to pick a favorite worst Deus Ex Machina, it would be that Inosuke gets stabbed through the heart here, but the reason he survives is because he, in that split second, moved all of his internal organs to avoid the blade. Likewise, there are limitations set on things to manufacture tension in some cases. Zenitsu pops into the fight and then relays that he can only use his technique a limited amount of times. As you can imagine, this limit doesn't actually exist because they're all breaking them constantly. Tanjiro can break his leg and mention how limiting that will be for him in the fight, but then continue to use it for the entirety of the fight to no actual detriment, aside from pain, but pain doesn't exist against willpower in shonen, so it's a cheap attempt to manufacture tension. Although I'm sure they'll have some explanation why Nezuko as a demon is so versatile and powerful because of her bloodline, she is basically a walking Deus Ex Machina. Number 4, the characters are underdeveloped and annoying. Zenitsu isn't funny. He is just annoying. The last season they released, he had no right to irritate my ears with his screaming over literally nothing every second that he's on screen. It doesn't make him endearing that he kills demons despite his fear, because he doesn't face that fear to do it. He's only OP when he's unconscious, but he's also not asleep because he's fully fucking sentient this whole fight. Fighting, talking, strategizing. The season ending on a shot of him falling into the demon realm, all serious-like, was completely unearned. But if you want a more articulate breakdown of how this archetype works and Zenitsu doesn't, I highly recommend this video, linked in the description below. It's not just Zenitsu though. Seaweed Hair annoys me too. He's an OP prodigy, but he's bristly and rude because he has no memory of his past except for that he's full of rage. His development is so clumsy. Tanjiro tells him to be nice to people once, so he takes that advice to heart, to the point that he detours to save someone that he logistically doesn't see the value in, just because Tanjiro said so. His story unfolds and we find out that he was a twin, but he was actually the nicer twin, and his pessimistic brother died to a demon, and I guess he internalized his brother's mentality of thinking their parents were stupid and weak for dying, trying to be good people. Even if he agreed with his twin brother's perspective in the end, he doesn't remember him. Doesn't remember who he was. Losing your memory doesn't rewire your brain into a different personality. If you were the nice one and you don't even remember your circumstances, how did you miraculously become the new callous asshole? While we're on Muichiro though, the actual execution of his backstory was subpar. Not only are there narratorial bits written in a way that is just objectively not strong, like distancing language. But the thing is that this is a visual medium. You know what's more impactful than getting told what happened in his past and how he felt? Seeing it. This whole flashback could have been in silence and carry the weight of him coming upon his brother's dying words. The point is that, in general, number 5, the show's writing has so much painful exposition. It really feels like Demon Slayer has no faith in its viewers. There were times throughout them chasing down the upper rank 4 demon that it didn't feel like I was watching a show, I was being told I was watching a show. And maybe that was by design, because we've entered an era where writing rooms are asked to consider the second screen experience, but I hate that. If you don't care about what you're making, don't make it. That's my only argument against that. I could have closed my eyes and known what was happening because they were point blank explaining it out loud. This isn't anime, it's not supposed to be a described video, this isn't an audiobook. I honestly feel talked down to, that they think my comprehension skills are so bad they need to describe everything that I am witnessing to me. This all leading to the moment which prompted this rant though. This scene at the climax of the Sword Village arc, where Tanjiro is faced with the decision of saving villagers from a demon or sheltering his beloved sister Nezuko from the rising sun. Honestly, it's a great moment of indecision. It should and does, or would have, held a lot of emotional weight. It's such good writing that Nezuko makes the choice for him and kicks him away. The sacrifice that she makes is extremely admirable. But it's not a sacrifice because it wasn't one, actually. The bad writing is the Deus Ex Machina that the sun doesn't disintegrate her because reasons. Yippee! And from the perspective of someone who likes to write, I can even appreciate the reasoning that I foresee being behind this, in that Nezuko being the first demon ever to choose human life over her own, unlike all the other selfish demon pieces of crap, earns her ability to walk in the sun. And that is perfectly fine storytelling. This flashback, however, isn't. The flashback puts itself in an impossible position where, as a viewer, I'm going to be mad either way. It doubly wastes my time over all of the other flashbacks for demons. Not only is it too long and shows moments of Nezuko that aren't really impactful, at least not as impactful as the moment that we're literally in right now, the choice that she just made. But we all know she isn't dying. I'm mad that you wasted my time and you didn't even have the decency to kill her. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you really just shouldn't have dangled that possibility around so hard then. Even if someone genuinely falls for the possibility that Nezuko is dying right here, right now, the flashback is just too poorly done to pull on our heartstrings. Because the show is so condensed, there isn't a lot to draw from of time spent with Nezuko. The show's continued attempt to inspire emotions with its flashbacks are as insulting as its use of Deus Ex Machina. Anyway, that's my take on Demon Slayer being mid and why. It's fine, it's just not as good as it's given credit for, and I think deserves such a cult following. I'll have you know that I cried over Rengoku, okay? I just think the anime overall leans way too hard into some storytelling devices that make it worse when it could be so much better. Now for some side rants that I couldn't fit in anywhere else, and I'm probably never going to talk about Demon Slayer again because y'all are going to come for me. I love the stylization of the animation, but I reject that when Nezuko transforms into her more powerful demon body that she gets these tits. It doesn't matter what size they are, really. Tits, period, are an impractical addition to a carnal killing machine. I'm not saying it because it feels icky and included just so it's okay for fans to make sexy merch of her. Her body as a weapon, it's a contradiction. I'm sure it's better explained in the manga, but the system of Hashira, like their themes, are way too random. Elemental techniques? Absolutely. Slightly more niche approaches boiled down to animals? Okay. Love Hashira? What the hell does that even mean? And lastly, I realize that this is a much more prevalent theme in other cultures and religions, past lives and all that, but I hate I guess it's a trope, of Tanjiro getting memories from his ancestors. Like, we need more older beef with the main antagonist to make the hero's eventual victory more impactful somehow. Like, it's fine, guys. He doesn't need to take on and fulfill his grandfather's unfinished business. Like, Tanjiro is allowed to be mad enough at the big baddie for killing his entire family and turning his sister into a demon. He doesn't need more than that, and neither do the viewers. So, that's the end of the video. If you want to tell me why my opinion is wrong in the comments, I expect no less than 500 words. Using ChatGPT to help you will get you an instant F in my class. Okay, bye.